Welcome to the Daily Meal for Thursday, the 28th of January 2021. Not a lot going on, but there is a bit of news on the transfer situation. We got this from the news at den.co.uk. This is Gary Rowett speaking about transfers, and it says lack of offers for fringe players making recruitment more difficult for Millwall in January window. It goes on. Millwall boss Gary Rowett is hoping the Lions' transfer business is not done this window, but says a lack of offers for some of these fringe players is hampering attempts to add further to the squad. Millwall have extended Kenneth Zohore's loan from West Brom until the end of the season, and on Monday signed midfielder Michael Keftenbeld on a free transfer from Birmingham. Rowett would like to add at least a defender before the transfer window closes at 11 p.m. next Monday, February the 1st. Millwall's situation is a familiar one in this window as clubs continue to be hit financially without gate income. The cumulative effect is less money and less movement of players, meaning clubs can't free up spaces in their squads for new additions. The Lions have been linked with Motherwell midfielder Alan Campbell, although the availability of Keftenbeld this month was a surprise to Rowett, and Millwall moved quickly to recruit him. A report in Scotland said Hibernian defender Ryan Porteous is also on the Lions' wanted list, as Rowett needs to boost his defence, with Murray Wallace out with a broken foot. Rowett insists Millwall have been ambitious in the window, but as of Wednesday this week they have failed to make any further breakthroughs. Jerry Scalak is available for transfer, but the club have yet to receive any acceptable offers for him. But they are hopeful of adding to the squad before next Monday night. I've said publicly we made 3 or 4 bids for players. We're trying to be really ambitious to get good players in this window, Rowett insisted. What you can't do is dictate who's going to sell who. There aren't an endless amount of options out there. It's a tough window, so I can't ask for much more. We'd like to do more business, but again, we haven't had any sort of offers that would allow some of our players to move on, play regular games. It's one of those situations where if it livens up as the week goes on, then great. There are 1 or 2 areas we'd like to strengthen. It has to be the right players. You can't just bring anyone into a group and hope it works. You have to be specific in targeting players. If we can get them, then great. If we can't, then we'll wait. So, but Gary Rowett said earlier that they had enough money to bring in 2 people. Does that include Zohore? Because Zohore was already here when he says that. So they should have enough to get 1 more player, which is probably this defender they're trying to get. So there's Gary Rowett there. Speaking about transfers, we got another story about Gary Rowett and transfers from londonnewsonline.co.uk, which is the South London Press's online website, and it says Lions chief surprised that there hasn't been more transfer interest in some of his squad, and this story basically goes over the same as the one I've just shown you, but there's a bit more information here. It says the likes of Shane Ferguson and Jerry Scalak are both out of contract at the end of June. The latter is certainly to move on after failing to make any kind of impression since arriving from Brighton in August 2018. Ferguson, 29, has played 211 matches for the line and can operate as a left winger or in a more defensive role. The Northern Ireland international has made 7 championship appearances this season, 2 of those starts. There are 2 or 3 I'd have expected to have difficult decisions to make in the last few days of this window, said Millwall manager Rowett. We've got some really good players not in the team and who would probably help other clubs. I'm quite surprised we haven't had more offers or inquiries, if I'm being honest, but that is probably due to lack of money under the League One wage cap. That's probably the biggest factor on it. I'm not desperately looking to move people on, it's just a natural cycle of football. If someone is not playing regularly, you expect them to want to play regularly. They're all good characters and good footballers. So what you see there is Gary Rowett basically saying the players he isn't playing are League One players. That's what he's saying there. He's saying we can't get rid of them because the teams in League One don't have enough money to sign them. So he's saying they're not good enough to get in Championship teams. They can only get in League One teams. So that's why they're not going there. And the thing with this League One wage cap, I don't know if I explained it before, but Kavanaugh made a statement about the League One wage cap. Basically, looking into it, what it is that there's a wage cap, but there is a loophole around it until current contracts that existed run out. And what that is if you've got a player whose wages bump you over, who had a contract who was already there when the wage cap came in, his wages are not taken into account as the whole amount. His wages are bumped down to an average wage across the whole of the league. So if you've got a 5k a week striker in the League One and you sell him, you then can't bring in a 5k a week striker in League One, because when you sign a new contract in League One, you have it's something like 2.5k a week average. You can't then, when you re-sign a player to replace one you've let go, his wages have to be inside the wage cap. So your current players are outside the wage cap if they have an existing contract. As soon as they go out and you need to bring in a new player, his wages need to be inside the wage cap. So that's what will happen. Before I made a video about Kavanagh making a statement to the fans about transfers and how difficult it is because of League One. And we've got here now Gary Rowett saying basically our players are only League One quality and we can't get them out because of the wage cap. So there you go with that. Moving on to the final story of today. We have this is from millwallfc.co.uk and it says earlier kickoff for 2 fixtures. Birmingham City and Preston North End at home. Probably not that bothered because we're not going anywhere. And it says Millwall Sky Bet Championship fixtures at home to Birmingham City and Preston North End will now both kick off at 7 p.m. The games are on Wednesday the 17th of February for Birmingham and Tuesday the 2nd of March for Preston North End. And that's 45 minutes earlier. It's supposed to be at 7:45. And I believe the reason behind that, because we're in the never-ending lockdown, and there was a hope that maybe, especially the game in March or in February, that things might start to open up. We might get a few fans back in the stadium. Maybe. But what happened, I think we had yesterday, or maybe it was the day before. It's kind of getting a bit weird trying to keep up with days now. But basically Boris Johnson said that they're aiming to open schools on the 8th of March. And also in that statement was a little thing, and then after they open the schools, they plan to start removing other lockdown restrictions. So basically saying this whole bullshit is carrying on till the 8th of March at least, and then after that, who knows. So I believe that's the reason why they've pulled the plug on these time changes, because they absolutely guaranteed 100% that their fans will not be there, so they pulled it forward to 7 p.m. So there's that. And that was it for Millwall news today on Thursday the 28th of January.